As Raiders sign a wide receiver to reunite him with our offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly. On top of that, we got some interesting Raiders schedule rumors. We could find out if the Raiders are going to play against the Eagles or the Chargers for that first game. I'll tell you what I'm talking about here in a moment. And then some interesting Chiefs rumors regarding Trey Smith. That is all going to be coming up here on today's show of the Raiders Report. Before I dive into it, though, huge shout out to our sponsor, Panda Supps. Use code FKC for 25% off any of the awesome Panda Supps protein, any of the awesome Panda Supps products that you've ever seen me talk about. I rock with the BCAs, I rock with the protein. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comment and down in the description of today's show. I know I look a little bit funny with this beanie, but dude, it is flipping freezing outside if you guys haven't seen where we're located in Dallas. Really, really cold morning. I wanted to be able to talk about this because yesterday, my fiance Alex, her mom came over. We were doing some wedding planning, so I really didn't have the opportunity to take a full-on deep dive when the Raiders went out and they added wide receiver Kyle Phillips. Fun fact about Phillips, which I did not know this, he was the very, very first recruit to ever sign, essentially, with UCLA, with Chip Kelly. So there is a really close relationship there, and typically when these type of moves happen, it's future reserve contracts type of things. The reason why the Raiders were able to sign him is because he was on the practice squad of the Philadelphia Eagles and, was able to get a Super Bowl ring back in 2024. Also, the fact that he played 4 seasons at UCLA is a pretty big one, but the reason why they were able to go out and get him right now is because, again, he was a practice squad player for the Philadelphia Eagles. Just like during the regular season, you're allowed to take players off your practice squad, and then you're able to put them to your active 53-man roster. This is a move, though, that I think is a player that we're going to consider making that 53-man because of his connection with Chip Kelly. On top of the fact, good little slot receiver, not afraid to block, which is going to be important, but also gives you some special teams ability where he did a lot of punt returning, and he's going to be somebody that I think you can at least count on because Amir Abdullah, he's going to hit the open market. Dylan Laube could potentially be cut. And when you think about those two players and everything that they did for our special teams unit last season, I think Kyle Phillips is going to be a lot more of an interesting name. So he was a 5th-round pick for the Tennessee Titans back in 2022, caught 23 passes for 259 yards in 2 seasons with the team. I think also this is an interesting move because Tom Brady obviously respects the thought process of Mike Vrabel. And even though, this was a player that didn't really kind of pan out in Tennessee, Vrabel's squad still went out and drafted him. So for Tom Brady, he probably thought, all right, this is a Chip Kelly guy. All right, this is a Mike Vrabel guy. He's a receiver that gives you some special teams value. Let's figure out a way to bring him in. In the 4 seasons at UCLA, Phillips made 163 grabs for 1,821 yards, 17 touchdowns. So all of those reasons is why I kind of like this move of the Raiders going out and getting Phillips, but this is why you subscribe to the Raiders Report. When the Silver and Black make a move, I will do everything in my power to keep you guys up to date around all things going on around the Silver and Black. Let's now get into the Raiders schedule rumors because it was announced today the venues for the first 2 games of the 2025 NFL season are the Eagles, Thursday, September 4th in Philadelphia. We do not know who is going to be playing against the defending Super Bowl champs. And then the following day, Friday, September 5th, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the Chargers are playing, and we don't know who the opponent is there. When I think about the Raiders, and we already know the Raiders have 9 home games this season, and we have 8 road games in 2025. We don't know exactly what the schedule is going to be, but we do know that the Silver and Black will play the Eagles on the road, and they will play the Chargers, at least once on the road. So I'm looking at that, and I'm going, there's a 25% chance right now that the Raiders are even playing on September 4th, or that the Raiders are going to be playing here on September 5th. My question to the nation out there, and this is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show, would you rather play the Eagles in the NFL opener on September 4th in Philadelphia, or would you rather play in Brazil on the road against the Los Angeles Chargers on September 5th, which is a Friday? Let me know down below. My answer coming up right here after this YouTube ad break. The name that I'm going to go with, the game that I would want, is against the Chargers. And I know that the Raiders played the Chargers week 1 last season, and I know the Raiders played the Chargers to finish off the season in week 18. But in all honesty, man, That's the game I would rather have. I don't want to go up against the Super Bowl defending champs in Philadelphia the first time we get to see this new squad, and there's going to be a lot of pieces out there. But if you're telling me we get to go down to Brazil to be able to go up against the Chargers, that's the matchup that I would personally rather have. Both are going to be a good test. And the Chargers don't have fans in the U.S., so I doubt that they have any fans in Brazil. So give me the Chargers game. That's the one I would hope for. But still, a 25% chance the Raiders are either playing on that first Thursday or Friday due to the schedule. We got some interesting Trey Smith rumors coming up here from the Kansas City Chiefs here in just a moment, though. Before I dive into that, again, Panda Subs has been a long-time sponsor here on the Raiders Board. If you've seen me have any protein, I always have my shaker on me. And if anybody's trying to get a bag, like a gym bag, on top of a shaker, if you spend over $100 and if you use code FKC, Panda Subs is going to hook up with you. If you want to see maybe some of the other products that they have, I always just tell people to go to Panda Subs online, check out their best sellers, check out the products that are made for you, because working out's not for everybody. And also, I think one of the hardest reasons why people don't exercise is because you can't really find the exercise that work for you. I'm able to find a good routine for me, and I'm able to stick to that routine. I am trying to lose some weight for my wedding coming up, but you got to be able to find the right products that work for you. Maybe you need some greens. Maybe you need some nootropics. Maybe you need a fat burner. Maybe you just need the protein. Maybe you just need some BCAAs. Whatever it is, if you're trying to be a healthier version of you in 2025, Panda Subs has got you covered, and you got to use code FKC for 25% off, which I think is a great way to go into this next part here. FKC, by the way. And it's from one of the top beat reporters from Kansas City, and somebody who's covered the team for a very, very long time. And it was reported today that the Chiefs are not expected to franchise tag Trey Smith. That's interesting to me. And I'll admit, I didn't really anticipate that they were going to tag him. It would have ended up costing them about $25 million. And when you look at, Spotrac, PFF, Trey Smith is going to be somewhere around $18 to, let's say, $22 million per year. I find this interesting, though, because Smith was, let's just be honest, exposed in the Super Bowl. And this was a player that, when you look at PFF's overall grades of the top free agents out there, and this is one of the reasons why I kind of poke holes a little bit in PFF's grading system, is because if you look at his grades, you're like, Trey Smith is the top interior offensive lineman. He's the top offensive lineman on the market. I saw that, and then I started hearing a lot of people that I trust saying, dude, Trey Smith is really overrated. I talked to our Chiefs guy, and he was like, he's good, but he's not as good as what people think. You got to watch him going up against top talent in the NFL. So what I did is I went back and I looked at some of his games, and I looked at some of his tape. When Trey Smith goes up against guys that he should beat, he dominates them. He does. He dominates them. When he goes up against people where you're like, all right, this is going to be a good battle, he doesn't look nearly as good. And I think that Super Bowl game against Philadelphia, Milton Williams, obviously their entire front that Philadelphia has, from Davis, to all the big dogs up the middle from Georgia, they have a lot of those big pieces in the middle. Jalen Carter ruined Trey Smith's day. So in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, if you're Kansas City, what was the way that realistically you got beat in the Super Bowl? Was your offensive line, you got exposed? And if you were worried about losing him and potentially, paying him even more than $25 million a year, you would have just franchise tagged him, no problem. For Kansas City to say no to the franchise tag and let him hit the open market, knowing how big of a need that interior offensive line is for them if he does test the open field, I think it's a very a very eye-opening thing, because smart teams do smart things. And if they're not going to tag Smith and they're letting him go potentially, now they could still bring him back, obviously, on a longer-term deal. But seeing how that Super Bowl went, now seeing the news as quickly as it's happening, this really, really did truly pique my interest. But it does look like Trey Smith is going to hit the open market. And I'm just going to tell you this. I am not going to be a team that wants to go out and overspend on Trey Smith. I have been somebody that says if there's one position to overspend on, it's the trenches on the offensive line. But I'm telling you this right now. Trey Smith makes me nervous. I would rather go out and get a Mekhi Becton at $10 to $11 million compared to paying Trey Smith $18 to $19 million. If we're the Raiders and we're looking to go out and get a guard, especially a right guard, both of those guys play it, I would rather the Raiders go out and sign Mekhi Becton. I'm telling you right now, Smith is starting to fall further and further down my list. He's still a good player. And if the Raiders were to go out and get him, we have enough money in salary cap where I would still go, you know what? I hope that it's a good move. But thinking that he's still one of I don't think that he's the top interior offensive lineman anymore. Let's just put it like that. And I don't know if the Chiefs do either. So again, wanted to make a quick little video here. I saw that the Raiders signed Kyle Phillips to reunite him with Chip Kelly. Wanted to be able to break it all down for you guys. Hopefully you hit that subscribe button, and hopefully you turn in tomorrow. It's going to be wild. My birthday, I can't believe I'm going to be 32 flipping years old. My dad's going to be in town. It's going to be a great time. Hopefully you guys pull up. Hopefully you guys show some love to Pops. His girlfriend's going to be here as well. Alex might even pull up to the studio. It could be really, truly a crazy, crazy day. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Hoping we get that Chargers game. That'd be pretty sick. And Trey Smith not getting tagged by the Chiefs means more talent hitting the open market. But maybe the Chiefs know something about Trey Smith that the entire NFL needs to pay attention to a little bit closer. For even more news around the Las Vegas Raiders, make sure you click the subscribe button right here. I promise you, I got you covered. If you're looking for even more content, you can hit this video right over here. This is probably a video that YouTube recommends the things that you would like. If you want to even see even more videos, it means that you enjoy this content. If you make it this far in the video, I think that we're doing the right things around here. Check out these videos and hit that subscribe button.